Welcome, everybody, to the first and introductory episode of Unleash the Cragle podcast. I am your host, Jonathan Cragle, and I want to thank you first and foremost for finding this podcast and listening. If you could, as you're listening to this, be sure to follow. Follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever podcasting platform you are listening to this on. We will be publishing audio to YouTube to begin with, and eventually we'll move to doing actual YouTube videos along with the audio-only portions. So, why another podcast, and why should you care, and why should you listen? Unleash the Cragle is a play on words of sorts, or a play on the idea of the old Lego movie where people at my gym used to say to me, "Unleash the Cragle," and I didn't really know what they meant. And they said, "Oh, you haven't seen the Lego movie? You haven't seen the Lego movie?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I haven't." So I went and watched it. For those who haven't seen it, sorry, I'm going to maybe do a little spoiler, but by this point, it's many, many years old. You probably should have seen it. And it still will be funny regardless. Basically, the gist of it is that the Legos were getting stuck, and they couldn't figure out why this was happening, and people started to be fearful of this thing called the Cragle. And it turned out that it was a weapon of sorts that the bad guy, the villain, used to stick the Legos solid to the ground, and they couldn't move around. And so it became almost like they were like statues. Well, as it turns out, the Cragle really was crazy glue that the ends of it had gotten stuck together. So instead of being spelled the full crazy with a K, glue, it was Krgl, and it was Cragle. My name is pronounced Cragle, but being a German name back in the day, it most likely was more like Cragle or Cragle. So in essence, Unleash the Cragle is not unleash me so I can get you stuck, but sort of a play on words of unleashing me into the podcasting world, that I might encourage you, that I might give you stories, that I might have inspirational stories from others that can help you along your path in this journey we call life. So what inspired this? Well, I've done podcasting in the past. I've had a podcast that I've kind of let go for now, and I may return back to it at some point, called Masters Barbell Project. It was geared towards masters weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting in particular, but it just became really difficult to organize interviews with people. Traveling to events across the country became a little problematic. A thing called COVID appeared or came around, and so I just kind of let that wane. It's still out there, but I really felt like rather than just getting focused on one particular thing, I wanted to have a platform to talk about a lot of things that are on my mind, or that inspire me, or that I have expertise or have leveraged a lot of learning and knowledge to be able to encourage others with that. And so that's what Unleash the Cragle is really unleashing me and this platform to be able to pursue those kind of ideas. So the broadcast schedule, the plan I have and that I'll be releasing is I'll release episodes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The planned idea is to have episodes be around 40 minutes, except for the interviews. Well, interviews will likely go an hour, and the goal will be to have that be just primarily the interview and not really any other kind of filler or other stuff. So it'll just be strictly get right into the interview and leverage the time with the folks that I'll be talking with and give them that opportunity to have that length of time. As far as Monday will be a kind of a Monday motivational, get us started with the week. It'll be things like positive thoughts, positive thinking, inspirational stories, inspirational areas of my life that I've worked on, both struggled with and through a lot of work and a lot of effort, both by myself, but also with a lot of coaching, whether it's through going through a divorce, whether it's grieving the loss of loved ones, and I've lost a lot of loved ones. It might be about coming back from injury or surgery. It might be the loss, of competition, or putting a lot of effort into a competition and the struggle with grief over that. It could be any number of aspects of positive inspiration, motivation, so forth. Wednesday will be when I'll release the previous week's interview, and Friday will be a potpourri, I'll call it. It will be kind of a grab bag of whatever I feel like discussing, or that I might have co-hosts on to discuss a topic or an area. Interviews are planned to be done Saturday and Sunday, and that's why I want to have them release on Wednesday, in kind of in between being bookmarked by both the positive motivation and the grab bag or potpourri for going into the weekend. That's the release schedule that we'll be going with. If that changes, I will certainly let everyone know, but I am producing content already with that plan and with that schedule. So be sure to to subscribe to every channel if possible, even if it's ones you don't really listen to, but you have subscriptions with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and so forth. That will help me leverage those platforms even more to provide you even more great opportunities for content and other things that I have planned kind of in the background. So, a little about myself. So you've listened to this point. Who am I? Well, I am as of recording, I'm a few weeks short of 58 years old. I am a white male. I have 5 grown children, 6, soon to be 7 grandchildren. I was married to my kid's mom. I am not married to her anymore, but we co-parented our children and continue to assist them in whatever ways we can with our grandchildren. I was a very active person, a young man, kid growing up in the middle of Iowa. We played all sorts of backyard sports, indoor sports. I grew up playing Little League baseball, middle school sports, high school sports. Went on to college to play golf. Lasted a few years and ended up finding that at that point college wasn't for me, so I joined the Navy. I continued to play golf in various aspects and still enjoy the sport. I just don't play as much unless my kids are around or my sons happen to want to go out and play. I'm very active in CrossFit. I have been since 2013 when I was first introduced to it. At CrossFit, I love it, in a little town called Lyndon, Washington. I have done Olympic weightlifting and competed on the Masters platforms, 1 golds, 1 silvers, 1 bronzes, and 1 nothing, because there's a lot of super strong people in my age groups in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and 70s, and 80s. I've done strongman, I've done powerlifting, I've done pretty much anything that's out there in fitness. As far as weightlifting or on the ground. There are a lot of things I have not done. I hike, but I've never been a competitive hiker or runner. I've run 1 half marathon, and the reason I did that was because it was along the beautiful coast of Santa Barbara, California, and I was distracted by all the beauty. But that said, I have a lot of background and experience in being around a lot of fantastic people who do things that I haven't or don't. So what I plan to do is, a few things that we'll talk about is we'll be interviewing people that do ultra running, mountain running, are competing in 30, 50, 100K races that might go a few days or more. We'll talk to CrossFit Games athletes, those who have competed and continue to compete. We'll talk to former college athletes in baseball, track and field. We'll talk to those who've used functional fitness and CrossFit type movements to train for cheerleading and competitive cheerleading. We'll talk to high schoolers who have used functional fitness and CrossFit and that type of training to win state titles and help improve their movement. We'll talk to the owners of the gym who do a yearly kids camp that'll be coming up in July. And so you'll hear that episode hopefully in the next couple of weeks or so. We'll talk about how they're having kids who've never really moved. Or when we were growing up as a 50-year-old, our generation, that's all we did. We played from sun up to sundown. But it's a different world now. And so sometimes kids don't get out. It's not as safe to get out and move around without parental guidance and so forth. So we'll talk that also. I'm really excited about the opportunity to just sort of talk about things that have been on my mind and also to bring you stories from others that I think are very exciting. So again, thank you very much. If you have not already, please subscribe. Please share this with your friends, family, whoever you can share it with would be great. I do plan at some point down the line to be doing some giveaways. I have some relationships with some really cool brands and some cool things that I'll be doing. I'll even fund some giveaways on my own just to say thank you to those who are listening. So again, my name is Jonathan Cragle. This is Unleash the Cragle podcast. And be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. You can follow us on Instagram at Unleash the Cragle. Also on YouTube, Unleash the Cragle. Those are the areas in social media you can follow us. Be sure to subscribe, like our posts, and share the episodes with your family, friends. You could even share them with your enemies because they could learn a lot from it also. Again, thanks so much. Until next time, take care of each other, take care of yourself, keep moving with good fitness, and I'll talk to you soon.